We get asked constantly what we use for POV shots when we're riding, and today I'm gonna show you every step. Everybody gear that you need, the angles that we use, how to edit it, how to export it. This is a full guide on how to get great POV footage. So to start, let's talk about gear. Everything that we use is going to be linked in the description using affiliate links. So if you wanna look at any of this gear for yourself, go ahead and hit those links. So our setup is pretty simple. For a camera, we're using the DJI Action 4 actually right now. I bought it 2 days before the Action 5 came out. So that was a bummer timing on my part, but if I were to buy one now, I'd get the Action 5. We use a Dango Designs gripper mount, and most importantly, a Fox helmet. So I'm gonna talk about all these things a little bit. So starting with the camera, I have been a long time GoPro user. The reason that I switched to the DJI Action Cam is strictly because it was less expensive than the GoPro. That is literally the reason. But I actually ended up liking it a whole lot for these couple of reasons. Reason number one, the front screen on this camera is a touch screen. So if you have it on your helmet, you don't have to take it off to change settings. Not that you'd be changing settings. I'm gonna show you what settings to run here in a second. But more importantly is actually the cage that comes with it. So on Instagram, our best performing videos are vertical riding videos. And the way that we do that is actually with DJI's quick release system. It's so good. So literally when we're riding and filming videos, like I'll have the camera on horizontal to do our YouTube stuff. And then once I'm done with the YouTube stuff, I'll just pop it off real quick, flip it, and then it quick connects vertically. And I run the camera like this. So for vertical riding footage, you run the camera vertical. So now as far as camera settings are concerned, this is actually where I lose a lot of people. But you know what, you're here probably because you've seen our footage and you like how it looks. But the settings that we run on all of our action cams are actually extremely simple. And here's my philosophy on action cams. DJI, GoPro, whatever company you're using, they work really hard to make this a camera that you can take out of the box, hit record, and get good footage. I do not mess with the crazy settings, especially with DJI. Their color space is kind of wonky. DJI's log conversion is just a weird one to deal with. The color space is weird, so I don't even mess with it. And with GoPro, like I don't shoot log on GoPro or even flat color profiles, sharpness. I don't deal with any of that, like seriously. You'll see so many videos about action cams and it's like, oh, run this sharpness here and this there and all this stuff. And none of that matters. All that matters is your angle and how you export it, which we'll get to later. So as far as the action cams, I always run 4K 30 FPS on the widest lens that they have. On DJI, it's called ultra wide. On GoPro, it's called super view. But man, I run the exposure auto, which I know like people have their opinions about. It's like, oh, we need motion blur. You don't need motion blur. So the reason I do that is one, because it's easy to edit on a computer. It doesn't take as much computer power as 60 FPS would. And also Instagram, Facebook, as of the time we're recording this, only do 30 FPS anyway. So why would you waste your time? As I said, one of the most important pieces to all of this is how you run your camera setup. And before I even talk about them out, I'm gonna talk about the helmet. I run a Fox helmet, and I run a Fox helmet to this day strictly because of the camera angles, to be honest with you. The issue that most people have with action cams is 100% gonna be the angle, and it's because the chin mount on your helmet is some weird shape, you know? There's a couple companies that make 3D printed things. I haven't tried any of those. I've always run the Dango Designs gripper mount or the cheap knockoffs on Amazon. But either way, Fox helmet's gonna give you your best angle because the chin is completely flat. With a Fox helmet, I run the camera flush with the flat part of the chin, and that's our angle, and it's spot on every single time. Which brings us to the mount. I use the Dango Designs gripper mount strictly because I have it and I've used it for the longest. But if you don't have a Fox helmet, I would not use the Dango Designs gripper mount. It's just not gonna work. You're gonna either have to run the camera upside down or put extensions. It's just a total pain in the butt. If you don't have a Fox helmet, I'd run some generic chin mount. Again, I linked them all below, all this stuff that I'm talking about with affiliate links, but as long as the camera's on your chin and you can get a good upright angle that gets the field of view that you want, then you're gonna be okay. Now next comes arguably the most important part. Once you get your camera settings right, your camera placement right, your angle right, the only thing that matters is how you export it. So when I edit, I use Premiere. I understand that a lot of us will use whatever else we have, you know. You could use iMovie. If you have a Mac, you're gonna be in good shape. But there's some free softwares that you can use on PC as well. And the concepts carry over. So the concept that you wanna look for when you're editing your video is 100% the bit rate. If you ever see grainy footage on Instagram or Facebook or YouTube or whatever from an action cam, it's not the action cam's fault. It's gonna be what you do in editing and how you export it. Edit the video the way you want, and here's the export settings. So for YouTube, when you're doing long form horizontal stuff, your export settings are gonna be as follows. Export in the native resolution that you shot the video, which in our case is 4K 30 FPS. In Premiere, you wanna shoot from somewhere between 80 and 100 megabytes a second as your bit rate, or even higher. I can't stress enough that the bit rate that you export in is what makes the quality difference. So 80 to 100 megabytes per second. Also on Premiere, you wanna hit the render at maximum depth button and use maximum render quality. And that's it for long form, pretty easy. For short form stuff, it gets a little bit more complicated. Now, I would always recommend shooting in 4K 30 FPS, but you're actually gonna export in 1080p. Vertical, obviously. So instead of 1920 by 1080, you're gonna export in 1080 by 1920. That is strictly because Instagram and Facebook and TikTok and all these platforms like 1080p video. But again, so you're gonna do vertical 1080. My bitrate for Instagram and Facebook is 40 megabytes per second. Again, because it's 1080p, it can be a little bit lower. And then don't miss those two buttons in Premiere, render at maximum depth, maximum render quality. And that's it. Again, if you're not in Premiere, look for your bitrate. Use those resolutions that I just mentioned to export, and then crank that bitrate. Just get it as high as you can. That's how easy it is to get great POV footage. Don't overcomplicate it. As soon as you start shooting in log and you have this sharpened at this place and whatever, like, you're gonna leave a ton of work in editing, and you're probably gonna make it look worse than if you just left it at standard on auto. And I know a lot of people would disagree with me there. If you do, leave it in the comments, it'll boost the video. But again, anything that you need that I mentioned in this video, there are affiliate links below. Check them out. If this video was helpful, which I hope it was, great. If it wasn't, you don't have to tell me. It's all right. I don't need to hear about it. If you want to join the Mid-Pack C class, go to midpackcclass.com. Good talk.